Handlock versus Pirate Warrior. Seen these games enough to know what exactly they're going to be playing. Let's see if Hidden's going to give us permission to watch. I don't like interrupting them during their turns. Azad's first mate gives him a 1/3 weapon and brings out patches. Nice of HiddenPool. Alright, so HiddenPool on turn 3 likely to use Bloodsail Cultist. Unfortunately, we can't see his weapon for some reason. Sometimes it glitches like that. Likely use Bloodsail Cultist on turn 3 to give himself a 4/2 weapon. Down at the bottom, Spé6MeN has plenty of control mechanics, plays Imp Gang Boss on turn 2 after being coined out. He's got Shadow Bolt, which will likely be used against the Bloodsail Cultist on the next turn. He decides to leave the Imp Gang Boss alone. He wants to just hit face. Will that come back to bite him? We'll find out very soon. Again, uses Shadow Bolt, then uses his Imp Gang Boss to remove patches. And brings out an Imp. At the top, HiddenPool could use... No, he uses Heroic Strike. Twice, powering up his weapon and his attack to 12. That's 13 damage, bringing him down to just 4 health. Turn 4, Spé6MeN's already down to 4 health. And with Mortal Strike, unless he can heal himself, it's already over. Turn 5, lethal. HiddenPool takes round 1. Fast is all I can say. If you're just now joining us and have whiplash like me, the first match went to HiddenPool. What rank is HiddenPool? I've spec'd over his name a number of times. He's 16 right now, just out of curiosity, and Spé6MeN is 14.
Your soul shall be mine.
Aggroing the crap out of this. HiddenPool now has Jade Druid in his hand. Spé6MeN might want to use Dirty Rat early on to rob his opponent of any other Jade-enabling cards. Summons out the first of the Jade Golems, 1/1. He'll likely use Hero Power and then Jade Blossom on turn 3. Hero Power this turn, Jade Blossom the next turn. Then after that, he'll probably use with his now 5 mana on turn 4, Nourish, to give himself 3 more cards. Then after that, Jade Behemoth or Hero Power plus Jade Spirit. Down at the bottom, Spé6MeN uses Dark Peddler, gets himself... He'll probably go with Soulfire to control what's going to be popping out of... Nope, he goes for Power Overwhelming. He has no Shadow Flame, though. However, he does have Reno, so he's not worried about the mid-game. He's going to trade here to get rid of the 2/2s, it feels like. He also might use Earthen Ring Farseer, or since he's so far ahead in terms of life, well, he thinks he's far ahead in terms of life, he might just life tap instead. And leave 1 mana unused this turn. Decides to trade with the 1/1 and leave it alive, and then heal it back up to 2. Sort of a confusing play, a lot of health being wasted. Wants to keep it around and force him to not have to use his hero power in order to get rid of this guy, forcing the trade instead. He has Shadow Bolt. He can use it to get rid of the Jade Spirit or the new Jade Golem. Instead, he decides to use Kazakus, the better bet. He goes for the 5 mana potion, so he can use it on the next turn. He might want to use it for this, because since a 4/4 Jade Golem is the next one to pop out of the Jade Druid. He might want to use this guy too, since a 5/5 will be the one after that. He can use this to get rid of any Jade Golems 5/5 and below. He can probably use Mountain Giant this turn, or Second Rate Bruiser, since his opponent has 3 minions on the board. He probably doesn't want to use this guy yet. He wants to save it until the next Jade Golem appears, which will probably be the next turn, given the fact that he's had nothing but Jade Golem summoned so far. Decides to trade and use up all of his mana on the spell that will remove the entire board for Hidden Pool. Hidden Pool's not worried though. He has another Jade Behemoth with a 5/5 Jade Golem. The board is still his. Spé6MeN does not want to use Reno yet. He wants to wait until it's further on in the game and he's lower on health. He could use Dirty Rat. He thinks his opponent probably doesn't have any minions left. He probably wants to use Mountain Giant just to have a larger minion out there. And then next turn, probably use Faceless Shambler. He instead decides to life tap. He has to spend something because his hand will be too full otherwise. Calls out the Mountain Giant. He's got Aya. That'll give him a 6/6 and then a 7/7 when she dies. Decides to Wrath out and then use 3 damage on the Mountain Giant, then trade to get rid of it entirely. And there's the Wreath again. So sorry, guys. It's a glitch we cannot prevent. So for the rest of the game, we're going to go silent on the sound effects. Because it just gets too loud and annoying. Alright. So down at the bottom, Spé6MeN can use a second-rate Bruiser. It still has the -2 mana because of the fact that his opponent only has 3 minions on the board. He might want to goad Hidden Pool into getting another minion on the board to use Mind Control Tech against. He could coin out the Twilight Drake. He might be preparing to use Power Overwhelming on any of his minions to use with Faceless Shambler, which would give him the buff without the detrimental death at the end of his turn. What's up? Hidden Pool is still 1 mana away from being able to use Wild Growth. Instead, he uses Nourish, drawing 3 cards. Gets another Jade Blossom. That'll give him a 7/7. Also gets Mulch, which you can use against any larger minion later on. Decides to mulch the Twilight Drake, preventing any hopes of either buffing it through a taunt, using Faceless Shambler, and making him overdraw possibly. Nope, he only had 9 cards. My mistake. Now's the time to use Reno Jackson. He might want to life tap first. No, he has 10 cards right now. That would overdraw him. He does not want to do that. He's going to go with Reno Jackson first. And then just end his turn. He plays Jade Blossom, gives himself the 7/7. He's going to trade away with a 6/4 against Reno and then just hit face with the rest. Hidden Pool is still in trouble. He can now use Mind Control Tech, though. He doesn't have Brand, though, so he can't get double, even if he could. It only works if he has 4 left. He would need 5 total. He gets Aya. That's probably the one he wanted. He could have used the 7/7, but he wants to prevent his opponent from getting an 8/8. Instead, he uses Siphon Soul to remove the 7/7, bring him back up to 24 health. He's holding on to the Power Overwhelming for either Shadow Flame, powering up the Faceless Shambler. Hidden Pool gets another card off the excess mana. Then uses Living Roots that's buffed off the Azure Drake to remove Aya. And since it's on this side of the board, it's only a 1/1 Golem, which then gets removed via Hidden Pool's Hero Power. Spé6MeN's going to use Cabal Chemist just to get himself some sort of potion. He's hoping for either Volcanic or he gets Black Crystal. He's going to save that for a larger minion, probably the Ancient of War in the next couple of turns. Spends the Shadow Bolt against Azure Drake, removing any spell damage, and then plays Doomsayer, hoping it'll give him at least one more turn against Hidden Pool's slowly building tempo of Jade Golems. He's going to probably use Azure Drake into Living Roots to remove this guy, along with his hero power. Or he could just use Feral Rage instead. He could also use Wrath. Decides to use his hero power. He doesn't want to go into Fatigue too soon. Despite having a hero power that draws cards, Hidden Pool is still ahead in terms of getting through his deck. He's got no spell damage buff, so Hellfire will not clear this guy. Azure Drake will remain on the board. Decides to use Power Overwhelming to Faceless Shambler, the combo he's been waiting for. then uses Ancient Brewmaster to bring her back in so she won't die from the power of Overwhelming, which will enable him another potion later on. He still has Refreshment Vendor that will heal him and his opponent up by 4 health. HiddenPool calls out Auctioneer, uses Innervate, gets himself a new spell, probably going to use that along with his second Innervate. Now he's up to 8 mana. Calls out Wild Growth, along with excess mana, draws into more cards. He's no longer worried about fatigue, it appears. Gets Fondral, which will be choosing both of each of his cards, which will definitely power up Wrath, Ancient of War, Druid of the Claw, both Druids of the Claw, and Feral Rage. He'll then trade. We can't see that card. It's too bright. It's too brilliant for us to witness. Again, apologies for the glitches, guys. Sometimes it happens. The best I can do is just silence it. He could use Black Crystal Potion to remove the Auctioneer right now, preventing any more card draw, but he actually wants him to draw cards, since they'll get him into Fatigue phase faster. Decides to Life Tap. There is the Shadow Flame he was looking for. Will he use the Black Crystal Potion or not? He could use that along with Refreshment Vendor, bringing him back up to 20 health. Actually, it'll be 17 health after... No, sorry. I was thinking if he used Hellfire. That'll be 20 health. Does he use Ragnaros instead? Gamble on him hitting face or the Auctioneer. It hits the Auctioneer. HiddenPool is now out of cards. He only has his hand left to play with. Nourish will be no good. He plays Jade Idol, puts 3 more cards in the deck. Essentially, just a whole lot more Jade Golems. He plays Jade Spirit, it appears. No, he plays Fondral first, then calls forth a lot more mana. Gets himself back down to no cards at all. And then plays the Jade Idols all over again. He has created a cycle of never-ending Jade Golems and fatigue. I don't know, alleviation? He's made himself fatigue-proof. The match is pretty much over unless Spé6MeN can get some sort of burst damage. He has no Leroy. He can hope that if he faceless manipulates Ragnaros, it would get rid of Fondral and the 8/8 Jade Golem. And then he could use Black Crystal Potion to remove the 9/9. Is that what he's going to do? That's what he does. He's taking a big gamble here. It gets rid of the 8/8. It gets rid of Fondral. He has 2 Ragnarai. Ragnaroses. 2 Ragnarai on the board. He knows he has nothing but Jade Idols in his deck, so he can just keep summoning these Jades without fear of reprisal. Ragnaros can't even kill half of the board anymore. That's more life than he can possibly grow back. He could use Cabal Chemist, possibly get a freezing potion. Decides to life tap into Demon Wrath. Plays Hellfire. Gets rid of one of the targets. No, he doesn't. He's got no taunts, no way to protect his face, no way of freezing the board. Double Battle Cry would bring him back up to, it looks like, 21 health, which will be decimated by these guys. Decides to Shadow Flame, and then play Hellfire to remove most of the threats. He's taking a big gamble here. He has no mana, he can't use Demon Wrath. It gets rid of the 12/12. He survives one more turn. However, because Druid of the Claw is still there, it's going to hit for 8. Emperor Thaurissan shows up. He could use this to double battle cry himself back to 10 health. That would buy him one more turn. However, with these guys on the board and swipe in hand, it still spells victory for HiddenPool. He'd have to hit one of them. Decides to use the taunt instead. Good idea. Rag hits face. He shapeshifts, uses Evolving Spines, gets rid of the taunt. And that's it. HiddenPool is now up 2-1. Sorry, 2-0. Apologies. Spé6MeN has to win 3 consecutive matches to take the finals. Alright, opening hand. He tosses it all back. Spé6MeN is running his handlock again against Aggro Shaman. He gets Dark Peddler, something he definitely wants in the opening hand. He also gets Demon Wrath, which we go against most of the pirates. HiddenPool gets Flameleaf Faceless, good for the mid-game. He can coin it out on turn 3 if he wishes. Plays Southsea Deckhand, gets himself Patches, and then hits face for his first damage. Aside from that, he has nothing but mid-game cards. Spé6MeN gets Reno, so if he plays that right, he can withstand the long game and possibly win this. HiddenPool, top decks, Flame Tongue, 7 damage to face. Turn 3, already down to 20 health. There's no secondary bruiser in hand. He plays Shadow Bolt to remove the essentially 4 damage buff from his opponent. He instead plays Coin into Flame Wreath Faceless, 7/7, turn 3. HiddenPool is cleaning this thing up pretty fast. Plays Refreshment Vendor immediately, standing high above everything else. Can they reach it? I don't think they're going to bother. They're going to just go right by him and hit face some more. Goes for spell damage, gets spell damage. This is lethal. Even if he uses Shadow Flame. He's hoping to get the 7/7. Can he get it? He does not get it. He won't have the mana to use whatever 1 mana thing he gets. And that's it. Turn 5, sweeping victory for HiddenPool. By far one of the fastest matches I've ever seen in this tournament. Not on ladder. They usually go that fast on ladder. So that does it. That is HiddenPool 3-0 victory, taking the finals.